Welcome back to the deep dive. You hand us the sources, and we do the heavy lifting, boiling it all down to what you really need to know. And today, we are cracking open one of the absolute foundations of web authority. We're getting into the engine room of SEO to focus on just one thing: backlinks. We've got a great set of materials here that define what they are, but more importantly, why they're still one of Google's strongest, most, enduring ranking signals. So if you're trying to understand how authority on the web is actually earned, not just claimed, this is really the place to start. Let's jump right in. There's a core analogy that really holds this whole thing together. A backlink is, well, it's just a link from one website, let's call it website A, to another website B. And the sources all come back to this one powerful phrase. They call backlinks digital votes of confidence.
Yeah, and that analogy is so crucial because it immediately frames it from the search engine's point of view.
It's not just code.
It's not just a technical connection now. It's an endorsement. So when website A links to website B, the signal it sends to Google is that website A is vouching for website B. It said, look, in my opinion, this other source is relevant, it's useful, and it's trustworthy. And, understanding that simple idea, that concept of a vote, is the baseline for everything else.
Okay, let's get crisp on that. Segment one. What exactly are we even talking about here? When we say backlink, I know there's another term you hear a lot.
An inbound link.
Inbound link. So it's traffic or authority coming into your site from somewhere else, a clickable link on a totally separate website that points to yours.
And if you're picturing just, I don't know, one kind of source, like a partner's blog, you really need to widen that picture a lot. What's really fascinating is just the sheer breadth of places these digital votes can come from. The source material really hammers this point.
Because Google sees that variety.
Google definitely sees it. We're talking about the obvious stuff, editorial links from blogs and articles, sure, but also news sites, press releases, and what's key, business directories and citations. Those act as proof you're a legitimate business. You get them from partners, from PDFs, even from, educational documents that Google indexes.
The sources even mention social media platforms, right? Though they're pretty clear that the SEO value there is limited.
Very limited, yeah. They signal activity, they signal buzz, but they aren't those high-value endorsements we're really focused on today. The main insight here is the diversity. A healthy backlink profile isn't just one kind of link over and over. It's earning votes from a wide, varied, and relevant set of sources.
Right, that tells Google you're a real part of the web's ecosystem.
Exactly, not just a self-promoter.
That makes perfect sense. So we've got what they are and where they come from, which takes us to the big question: why? Why does a company like Google still rely so heavily on this, kind of old school system? The sources say it's because backlinks answer two absolutely critical questions for them.
And these two questions are, they're basically the pillars of the whole search algorithm. They use this huge web of links to figure out, number one, is this website trustworthy? And then number two, is this content actually authoritative on this specific topic? And if you can't satisfy both of those, your content, it might as well be invisible. It doesn't matter how good it is.
So it's a system built on three things: authority, relevance, and trust. And I want to dig into that trust piece. The sources make a pretty bold claim. They say that without backlinks to prove those concepts, even content that's, and I'm quoting here, well-written and technically perfect can struggle to rank. So, if I write the world's best guide to antique clocks, but nobody links to it, I just lose.
You absolutely lose. That's the reality of it. Technical perfection gets you in the door. It's the entry ticket. But that external trust, the backlinks, that's the VIP pass to page one. And when you pull together what the sources say about the four strategic roles they play, it becomes, razor sharp just how important this is. The first one is the one everybody knows: ranking power. They're not just a signal. They are arguably Google's single strongest signal.
Still, after all these years.
Still, the math is simple. Pages with high-quality, relevant endorsements just consistently outrank pages that don't have them. It's the best predictor of search visibility we have.
Okay, so that's the big one. Then there's something more functional about speed, faster indexation.
Yeah, this is more of a technical detail, but it says a lot about your site's health.
Yeah.
If you get a link from a big established site that Google's already crawling all the time.
Like a major news outlet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then the crawler just follows that path to your new page and finds it or indexes it way faster. It pulls your new content into Google's library almost right away.
And I imagine that speed leads right into the third role, which feels like the most strategic one for anyone listening: competitive differentiation.
It's huge. Think about any competitive industry: finance, health, you name it. Every Serious player has a professional site, they have good content, they have solid on-page SEO.
It's table stakes. Everyone starts to look the same.
They look identical. So what's the tiebreaker? It's almost always the backlink profile. The sources are so clear about this. Backlinks are often the deciding factor between page 1 and page 2.
And that's not a small difference. That's the difference between getting customers and not existing.
It's everything.
Yeah.
And because genuine links are so hard to earn, they become this massive barrier to entry for your competition.
That's a great insight. It's the weapon hiding in plain sight. Which brings us to the fourth role, one I think is really interesting. Contextual understanding. It's not just that a site links to you, but how they link to you.
Exactly right. The content surrounding the link is a huge signal for Google. If a site links to your page about, say, Italian sculpture, and the text around that link is all about Renaissance artists and marble carving,
Google learns what your page is really about.
it learns so much more than if the link just said click here. That context is absolutely critical for making sure you rank for the right keywords, the ones that match what a user is actually looking for.
Okay, so they're essential, they build trust, they drive rankings. But this whole conversation now leads us to segment 3, which has, I think, the most important nuance of all. And here's the challenge the sources lay out. Not all of these votes are equal. If I have 50 links and my competitor has 5, how is it possible they could still be outranking me? The key detail is pretty stunning. One high-quality backlink can be worth more than hundreds of low-quality ones. That's just a massive difference.
That ratio really explains the entire shift in SEO strategy over the last, decade. It's not a volume game anymore. It's about quality control. And our sources break down the factors that determine a link's value. This is where you get those big aha moments.
Okay, what's number 1?
First and foremost, the authority of the linking domain. Is the site linking to you a big trusted name in its own right? A link from a major university or a government website.
That carries incredible weight.
Astronomical weight, because they've already spent years or decades proving their own authority to Google.
Right. And then there's the question of connection. If I run a blog about sustainable energy, a link from a huge fashion site might have authority, but is it relevant?
And that's factor number 2. The relevance of the linking site is paramount. A link from a dog grooming blog, even a popular one, isn't going to help your energy blog nearly as much as a link from, say, an environmental news site.
Relevance is the glue.
It's the glue that makes the vote stick. Absolutely.
Let's get practical, too. What about where the link is on the page? You see them in footers, sidebars all the time. Does that matter?
It matters a lot. That's the placement of the link. The sources all prioritize what are called contextual links.
So embedded right in the text of an article.
Right in the body of the text, surrounded by content that explains why the link is there. That is so much more valuable than a link just sitting in a footer or on some long list of resources. It's a true editorial endorsement. Then you have 2 technical details that are easy to mix up. First is the anchor text.
The clickable words themselves?
The actual clickable text, yeah. Does it use a keyword you want to rank for, or does it just say, learn more? Specific, relevant anchor text is a powerful signal.
Okay, and the last technical one is this idea of followed versus no followed. That just sounds like jargon. Can you break that down?
It sounds like jargon, but you really have to care about it because it determines if you get the vote at all. A followed link is the default. It's basically Site A telling Google, yes, follow this link and pass my authority, my vote, along to Site B. A no-followed link is Site A telling Google, hey, you can show this link to users, but please do not count it as an official endorsement for me. Don't pass any authority.
Whoa. So if I work for 6 months to get a link and it turns out to be no followed, I don't actually get the direct ranking power from it.
That can be the heartbreak of link building.
Yeah.
You might get referral traffic, but you don't get the ranking vote.
Why do sites do that?
Usually for things like paid ads or user comments on a blog or any situation where the site doesn't want to officially vouch for where they're sending people.
So the big takeaway from all this complexity is really just that one core principle.
It is. Quality, relevance, and intent matter so much more than just the raw number of links.
It's a game of credibility, not collecting stickers.
Okay, let's switch gears for segment 4 and put this in a different context. Let's talk local, because the role of a backlink for, a local bakery versus a global e-commerce brand has to be different.
It is. For a local business, backlinks are still ranking signals, absolutely. But they also serve this crucial validation purpose that goes way beyond standard ranking. Local backlinks specifically strengthen your Google Business Profile authority, and this is key. They reinforce your geographic relevance.
They tie your website to your actual physical location.
Precisely. They tie you to the community, and that is vital for showing up in things like the map pack or local service ads. When Google sees a link from the local paper, it validates that you're a real business in that town.
So if I'm a plumber, a link from my city's Chamber of Commerce is basically telling Google, yes, this business is real, they're here, and the local community recognizes them. That's a perfect example. The sources point to those kinds of links, Chamber of Commerce, local news, regional associations, as being incredibly powerful. They establish trust and location at the same time.
It's like proving your citizenship in that digital neighborhood.
A perfect way to put it.
And this gives us a great chance to really contrast the two big pillars of SEO, on-page and off-page. The sources draw a really clear line here. They say, on-page SEO tells Google what your site is about, your titles, your keywords, your structure. But backlinks help determine how much Google should trust you. It's that external proof that says, hey, other people agree this site delivers on its promise.
That's the essential difference. Both are completely non-negotiable. You have to be relevant and you have to be trustworthy. But the sources really end this part by stressing that backlinks are almost always the harder, slower piece to replicate. Anyone can hire someone to write great content. But earning genuine endorsements from authoritative sites, that takes real strategy, and that's why it carries so much weight.
Which brings us to our final wrap-up. I mean, if you take one thing away from this deep dive, it has to be that backlinks are foundational. They are trust signals. And in any competitive field, the difference is going to be the quality and relevance of those incoming links.
And because getting those high-value votes is so hard, it demands a real plan. Backlinking isn't something you could just set and forget. It needs intentional planning, it needs consistency, and it has to align with your actual business goals.
So let's leave you with a final thought to mull over. Based on that exact idea, that high authority links are the hardest thing to replicate. If you know your top competitor has been around for a decade and has links from 3 of the biggest, most respected websites in your industry, links they got through years of building a reputation, what specific action can you take that is nearly impossible for them to replicate quickly? It's not just about writing better content. It's about realizing that sometimes the only way to beat an old, powerful vote is to dedicate the time and resources to creating an even better, more exclusive vote of your own. Thank you for taking this deep dive with us today. We'll catch you next time.